Is that the end? Oh, jeez, man. Fucking did it, Chad. Finally beat fucking God of War. We finally beat God of War. Holy shit, damn. Yeah, this was like, goddamn, so long, but so worth it, right? You can see why it was like one of those like Game of the Year like nominations back then. I'm like, damn, this game does not stop like delivering every like action moment, every set piece there is, you know, like the action is very fluid. Like I called it like before, right? It is a very, this game is like the departure from the God of War series, right? In terms of gameplay, right? Like the gameplay in God of War took a very, it's not the typical action like hack and slasher that the old God of Wars were like really like known for. Now in here in like in this God of War, or we can call it like 4, holy shit, like it took like a massive left field, right? And for the better, right? Like you get to customize like your loadout. Well, I don't think they're really like loadouts. No, there's not. I mean, but you get to play like a different like playing style than what you know from Kratos of before, chucking axes and like doing barehanded like combat and shit. Of course, you have like the Blades of Chaos. Everything just like felt so cool in terms of like gameplay for God of War. Like I like the aiming, I like the intuitive puzzles that God of War provided, right? It was a very fun take. I mean, of course, you know, the original God of War games, right, did have like puzzles, but these puzzles were like very clever. Like sometimes like you get them, and sometimes like, okay, what the fuck do I need to do here? And the team was like very smart about the puzzles in God of War. You know, you're not just like brain dead, like, you know, okay, do this and do that. Like you figure stuff out and like what you have to do. And it was very satisfying to unlock like those puzzles and like those combats, right? And speaking of like combat, right, like I love this game for the fact that like it's partly action, you know, you have like dodges, you have right time parryables, and of course you have like you kind of have witch time, which like you slow down time via like a perk activation. And of course, speaking of like perks, that's part of like the game's like charm. You get to like swap between like different skills and different abilities to like try out new methods. And I really like that for God of War, to like spice things up here and there. And I like appreciate that a lot. I never like, I'm pretty sure games had that, action games had that, where you can like mix up like things and stuff here and there. Of course, like weapon swapping is there, right? But you get to activate different perks, and enemies do like damage. Enemies do like frost damage, blind you, burn you, poison you, and you have different abilities and different items that you can equip on to you so that you can like overcome the fight. And you have a different like build every time. I was going for just like a rando build of like just maxing out my stats to be like level 6, cause the armor that you carry signifies like your level. So if you have like high ranking gear, then you could be like level 6 or 7. But if you wear something like lower, then you get demoted down to level 5 and your stats decrease. So in a way, it's kind of like an action RPG rather than just straight up hack and slash action, right? And that's a really good departure. And, you know, like I said, it's very much like the Resident Evil 4 of God of War, where the old school Resident Evil games like 1, 2, and 3 were very much tank controlled over like on top of like the camera perspective, like you look above, and sometimes like, oh no, not always, but fixed camera perspectives, right? And that's what the old school Resident Evils are. They're tanky, they're clunky, they're fun for what they are, but once Resident Evil 4 hit with like the third person over the shoulder perspective, Resident Evil started to have a positive impression, and future Resident Evil games like 5 and 6, well, not 7, 8 is gonna do that with like its extra content of adding the third person mode. I don't know why, because it's like it's Ethan centric, but you get my point, right? Like, it's a good departure from what we know of the past Resident Evil / God of Wars to this like recent like new one. And you know, I like a change of pace. I don't want to be like the same old here and there. Well, granted, like I like Devil May Cry, for instance. I like their action a lot, and every new game outside of like 2 feels like an improvement on the action system, and Devil May Cry 5 like you know, perfected that, I feel. So you can do like absolutely anything in that game, in DMC5 than what you did in the previous ones. But you know, sometimes it's good to have like a gamble, right? Sometimes you get to roll the dice and see what you want to do next, and like, you know, it's a gamble. It's 50-50. You might not know. Like, even the devs that were making the new God of War were like, okay, third person perspective. We don't know if that is gonna work with the OG God of War fans who have been stuck with the series like forever. No, it actually worked out. Not only did it work out, but in gameplay wise, but also worked well in like story and like story and whatnot, right? You know. And speaking of like narration and story, I like how like the story presented itself, you know? You see like Kratos, you see Kratos at the start, everybody knows Kratos, and then he starts off as a boy. Starts off with him having a son, then his wife turned to ash, and you go through all of these different like adventures just to spread your wife's ashes. And you're in like the fucking Asgardian realm. You're in Viking like territory, right? You're gonna be dealing all about Norse mythology, and yo man, I'm glad that they went to like Norse mythology, right? Even though we saw in like one cutscene that with Tyr's vault, yo, Tyr went through like every like culture in the known mythological universe, right? So and God of War Ragnarok is, you know, as they stated, is going to be like their last game to be set in the Norse realm, which I thought is going to be a trilogy, but hey, you know, developers are developers. And it's going to be like their last game, and what I want for like God of Wars, for like Kratos to do is like, yo, have Kratos like fight Anubis in like Egypt, or like fight like the ancient celestial gods of early Japan, you know, like Susanoo, Amaterasu, all that jazz. Yo, how badass would it be if Kratos punched like an Aztec like emperor? Well, not an Aztec emperor, but like an Aztec god. Like, you know what I mean, right? Like, holy shit, that would be pretty nutty and insane. Wow. Shit, man. And, you know, of course, like, the set pieces that build up to, like, the God of War, like, story as you're, like, playing the game is pretty superb. You know, like, you're not really, like, spoon-fed a lot of, like, the lore. You're just entranced into, like, this new world, or, like, this new environment. Even though it's, like, based off of, like, Norse mythos, it still feels like a new world, like, going in, right? Like, the game is like smart to not like tell you what's this, what's that, what's this, what's that, and all that stuff. You can look upon it at like your own behalf via like the boy's journal, but yeah, like the game is pretty smart in world building and set building, and like tells you, you know, all like the smart ass decision, all like the smart ass things that you are doing, and it just doesn't feel like you're dumb. Like, you gotta catch up, you gotta know, like you gotta connect the dots here and there, you know? And of course, like the ending was like really connect the dots, like holy shit, I don't know what the fuck is gonna happen in the next one, right? Shit's crazy. That bitch be crazy. But yeah, like holy shit. This was a fun game. This was an awesome game. This was a fun story. Like every time I like talk to mom about like video games, she always says that like, yo, what's your favorite game? Like and then she tells me her favorite game is God of War, because like she likes the adventure, she likes the journey. Even though like, well, well, I can't really invite her on stream because you had to like be on camera and stuff, and she's not acclimated to that. But you know, she likes God of War because it tells itself like a movie, like a well-crafted, you know, movie. I feel, not in the veins of like a Avengers Marvel style, but you know, it tells itself really well. Like you can like get along. Of course, you know, it's a very smart movie, so if you're like, you can pick up things quickly, you can pick up things quickly. But the movie, it could be like pretty much watched like as a movie. I don't know about gameplay though and all like the side quests, because it treats itself as a game, but you can definitely like watch this as a movie if you like main campaign all the way like through. But what was it? Yeah, like God of War story is super fucking good. All of like the characters feel so right. The camera and the fixed angles for like each like cutscene feels so cinematic, right? It doesn't feel like it jumps to like a character or like explains like a certain character. Like I dig that, you know, it's cool. Yeah, this game is really fun. Like I give it like, you know, I don't know if I would say like a 10 out of 10, you know, but yeah, I think it's like a 9 for me. This game feels like a 9 out of 10 in terms of, you know, just like everything. Like it's really fun, it's really cool. There's a lot of like cheeky humor about it. Oh, I forgot about like the humor, right? Again, this game is so Resident Evil because, you know, you get like a merchant and that's Brock, and he's literally the fucking merchant of God of War. What are you buying? I don't have time to deal with you like clock-sucking cuckers around. Like, he's such a funny fucking character. And of course Sindri too, he's also funny as well. But yeah, like, goddamn. This is a great video game, not gonna lie. It's super fun, it keeps you entertained. You have roller coaster moments here and there. It is a action movie. It is a cinematic action movie. You know, it's not like a self-aware like break the fourth wall type of thing, but you're here to like enjoy a ride, and that's what it does. Like I really dig that about God of War. It's really hype. And of course I can't wait for like God of War Ragnarok. Like the game will come out in November, which is, you know, of course bad timing, because you want to know what's coming in November? Fucking Pokemon. And Pokemon just, once a Pokemon game comes out, everybody just like dominates the fucking field on like, you know, get this and that and all that stuff. And you know, Pokemon is always going to be like #1 hype category in everybody's like radar, because it's like that name brand, right? And in November, God of War is also in there. Just like, let me double check. 2022 in video games. Let me see. Let me see. January, February, March. July, August. What's in November? Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And God of War Ragnarok is like, you know, November 9th. So, those two games are literally 9 days apart. Fucking 9 days apart, and we all know that, like, Pokemon's gonna come out on top. I just, like, guarantee it. It's one of those things, like, if there's, like, it's one of those things, right? If there's, like, a, what was it? A new Persona's gonna definitely top. No one's gonna, like, play God of War unless you're, like, a normie broski. I always argue that, like, you know, like, not only just in, like, fighting games, but, like, for other games that are with, like, popular releases, like, you should have, like, a game that's, like, outside of that, like, popular ass fucking, like, window, right? And have it just, like, revel in it in about, like, a month, right? Like, which is, like, you know, certain examples like KOF 15 came around at a time where, Horizon Forbidden West was coming out, but not only that, it was Elden Ring, and everybody was on board the Elden Ring, like, hype train, and game just did not, like, shine. Albeit it had problems of its own, like matchmaking and stuff like that, but it was just sandwiched between, like, two video game titans that a lot of the major consensus of gamers are, like, really looking forward to, and that sucks for, like, you know, of course, fighting game fans are gonna love it, but KOF has been, like, you know, KOF has been, needs, like, that popularity track, and, like, KOF 15 is, like, the best one out of them all, and it plays nice, it feels good, it feels like an improvement on 14, a little bit on, like, 14, a little bit on, like, 13, and it's got, like, characters that you love from across the sagas. But no, Elden Ring, Horizon, all that jazz, it just feels sad that KOF doesn't have, like, its pop-off moments. And, you know, we're gonna see that again with, like, God of War, because 9 days from its release is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Pokemon, you know, like, it is what it is. I can bitch about it and complain about it all I want, right? And I know it's gonna be, like, I know I'm gonna hear the rat's ass out of the end of, like, my IRL circle, right? But, you know, of course, I'm gonna play what I want to play, you know, that sort of thing. I'm gonna talk about what I want to talk about. I'm not a Pokemon fan. I don't like their gameplay elements. I don't like their gameplay mantra. I just don't. But it is sad that, like, games that I feel like deserve a lot more should be fucking sold in, like, a month where nothing else is, like, going on, but it somehow does, and that's how it works. And of course, there's also, like, the great songs of, like, God of War, right? I forgot about the music. The music is, like, really dope. Music really sets the tone of, like, the set pieces. Like, everything just, like, meshes well with, like, the story. You know? It feels so great. But yeah, God of War is an excellent fucking game. I would, like, recommend it. Like, if you're a fan of God of War, if you're a fan of, like, action games, something like that, and go, like, play this game. It's a fun ride. It's a good I wouldn't say roller coaster, but it's a fun ride, all things considered. It's not like Splash Mount. I still want Splash Mountain, chat. God damn it, I want that ride next time, baby. Yeah, God of War, done, completed. Oh, what the fuck?
Atreus, are you ready?
What?
Yeah, but I had the weirdest dream.
What?
Fimbulwinter was ending, and Thor came for us, here at the house.
It was only a dream.
Dream.
But it felt different. It felt real. It felt like the future.
Then we will
Worry about it tomorrow.
Today, there are still things we can do. Come.
Oh. Okay, so it was like it was only a dream. Didn't really happen. It's things to come. Alright, but yeah, like God of War, definitely a oh, and it's even snowing in the menu, like it didn't like snow before. Wow. Winter is coming. Ragnarok is coming. The winter